Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Do a roll call vote, determine a quorum. Anita Pate.
Here.
Bobby Brooks.
Here.
John Spencer.
Here.
Chuck Deaton. Here. And Derek Combs is also present. We do have a quorum. Everyone was provided a copy of the minutes from our August 6th regular session, and executive session. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions or discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to presentations, we have Brian Smith here with the City of Charlestown to present project on the Short Street Parklet project.
Good afternoon, Board. Brian Smith, Communications Director with the City of Charlestown. I just want to talk a little bit about today our rural placemaking partnership with Indiana University. We reached out to them early in 2024 and kind of presented a idea for a pocket parklet, as the IU students are calling it. And this is to sort of redevelop Short Street, Market Street sidewalks. So as the sidewalks have been improved in and around the square and the facade grants, we're looking at different places or what the next step was. And if you're on that sidewalk, it's a very broken sidewalk. It needs to be repaired. And we just thought of an idea of like, let's create a hangout space, a communal space for people to come and gather. Kind of the inspiration is the square has seen a lot of activity in the last several years, from the Saturdays on the Square Market, 2 car shows a month, obviously the large crowds that come for Christmas, and Music in the Park events. So we were notified in March of being selected by IU Rural Placemaking. So that is art, design, students, architecture with IU Bloomington. Their process is they brought a few people in to meet with about 20 people in the community came, a few of the board members came, got some background on Charlestown to kind of find their inspiration for this pocket park. And really our ideas was we wanted something that's going to identify Charlestown. We've been talking about large letter signs for 3 years now. So that was kind of one of our ideas, and just it was a collaborative partnership. I have the student's name. Caden Ganopoulos was the lead designer from IU, and then I'll kind of go over the slides here of his design. So what we're looking for is just to continue to activate this area with Life Spring going in, and the coffee shop, pizza company. A lot of people can come to the square and utilize this space. So we're looking for an artistic kind of creation from the students. They came back with 2 preliminary concepts. We went with the concept on the bottom and then kind of elaborated from there. I will say on the top one, in that upper right-hand corner, is like a concrete design of the letters Charlestown that would spell Charlestown both ways. It was a really neat idea, and it's one I think we're going to put in our back pocket, possibly for Shadow Lake Park or another park down the road. So, yeah, we were looking for a neat little pergola, and his design was kind of taking into account the past and the future and kind of do that wavy design of moving forward. And this is kind of just, another focal point, and this will be all metal on the pergola there. So, and then it's just creating a space for events. So the Saturday on the Square Market sits up on Short Street, so this will be a spot for them to set up moving forward. Then we can also put bands there as well. And then the movement again, it's, because Charlestown has gone from the Pekin residence down and back up, and this pergola just kind of was his vision of Charlestown moving forward and still reflecting on the past. And this was his biggest inspiration. He spent some time in the library, kind of because a lot of the residents that came to our meeting just spoke about the ammunition plant, how that's still a part of our history, and we should, have that as part of this. So he kind of took the sawtooth roof, and then they created the floor for this project. And these are just some final designs, so this is what it looked like overhead, overlooking Market Street. As you can see, there's some planters that will be kind of the buffer for accessibility, that way no cars kind of go in that area. But it's kind of unique, fun seating, and this is where we kind of talked about, and those letters will be about 4.5 feet tall. So we kind of see this as a way, especially during Christmas, if someone's crossing Market Street, that's a perfect opportunity to brand Charlestown moving forward. So, again, just a few more renderings there. Kind of my favorite part is the concrete would be seating there on that back end. I kind of like that, along with the colorful parts. Yeah, I just think it would be a great event space. And then kind of the reason why I was kind of coming to the board is what IU has helped with. Nicole with IU has been great. Along with this project, they are also going to help us with figuring out how to fund the project. The estimated cost from IU was like $220,000 in that range. I'm sending this off to get 2 additional estimates. That way we have a better understanding of what funding we need to chase. And then one of the ideas is patronicity. It is a crowdsourcing program through the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. So what this is, it's kind of like, if you think of a GoFundMe, but it's a matching through the CDA. It's up to $50,000, but it has to be a guaranteed match. So if we say we're going to crowdsource $50,000, we have to hit that mark, and then they will kick in an additional $50,000. So that would get us about halfway to the funding of this. So one thing I want to do is just, one thing they suggested was, patronicity suggested letting the redevelopment board know that, for the minutes, that we would possibly do this if we have a funding gap. Because I'm currently writing 2 grants, hopefully for funding of this. And then if we need to fill in the gaps, we would use patronicity as a crowdsourcing. And it's not just individuals crowdsourcing, we could reach out to businesses to where they could sponsor and be a part of this. So. And that's about all I have.
Is it open-ended, the patronicity, or is there like a short time limit on utilizing that?
I have about 2 months to build it, and then within that 2 months, I have to have approval through patronicity and also the Indiana Housing Authority. Once they approve it, then it can take off. That's kind of why we're looking at it now, because we know our biggest traffic would be Christmas. And that way, if we can put out some signs with QR code, then maybe we can generate funds from people who visit during Christmas. Yeah, if we go over if we say we're going to raise 50,000 and we raise 60, we still get that 60 plus the 50.
So, I mean, how long do we have a finite timeline on how long we can have it open for taking donations?
Yes, 1 year.
Okay, I guess I missed it. All right, thanks.
So is this gonna go between the sidewalk and the stoplight?
It will be basically right across from where the gazebo is now. Like, so if you just continued on, it would be in the center. And then we had talked about, as the property has been purchased by the city, of maybe, being incorporated into whatever that design is there at some point.
And that design is an open roof, and it would always be an open roof, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think for our community days and bigger events, we would still bring a mobile stage in, but for music in the park events, we think this would be a great opportunity to usher bands in.
And how big is that, or what would you estimate as far as length from stoplight towards
I'm
property?
not 100% sure the exact length. They did give us a full drawing, like architectural drawings, so we could take it straight to someone to look at it.
Just wondering if you get in there and you raise more, can you make it a little bit bigger, but that covers the whole area?
And one thing we did talk about internally was what the percentage does not include the full sidewalk repair, so that's something that we would have to take into consideration too, as a funding for completing the entire sidewalk.
So tonight, you're just presenting this to us, letting us have a look at it, we don't need to...
No, there's no action
tonight.
needs to be
Okay.
taken, just kind of letting the board know the potential of patronicity,
Yeah.
and I think the 2 grants, we should know by mid-October on both of those.
Okay.
Have there been any conversations with NDOT? Are there any
Not yet.
pushback or
We haven't had any conversation
near
yet.
the right of way or?
I know we did have, Tim, our utilities director, come out and take a look at the water and wastewater lines, so he's aware of where those are at.
I don't think it falls in the right of way.
Okay.
The stone marker is on the opposite side of this, the right of way marker.
Okay.
I don't think it falls, it's on Short Street, it's not on Market, it's up on top of the hill.
Good.
You're not gonna have it protrude out over the highway and make it a little more dangerous, a little more,
Zip line to Greenway.
yeah, there you go.
I will say, but this is the big design out of the several presented. I was in attendance at that meeting. This was the one I preferred, so I think it's pretty cool looking.
Looks nice.
I think pretty much everybody who participated chose this one.
Yes.
I don't know that anybody chose, I think they were pretty much unanimous.
Some people in the office like the stone letters of Charlestown just because it was really unique, but for us, we don't think it really fit the square, you know, but we thought like, you know, potentially down the road, maybe Greenway Park or Shadow Lake Park, maybe something like that would be appropriate, but it just didn't feel like it would fit the square. And of course, we gave them the colors, so we got blue for Charlestown and all that too, so.
And I want you guys to know that Brian pursued this all on his own. So he found the grant opportunity, he wrote the grant application, he received it. He really has chased this, coordinated the meetings and worked with them the entire way. So it's been really nice having him take the lead on that, do that. He and I were able to go up last Tuesday or Wednesday to Bloomington to meet the student who helped with this and see all the other projects. And I mean, there were some really good projects with this program.
Good job, man. That's great.
Yeah, and hopefully Main Street coming down the road, so it's
Yeah.
hopefully part of that too, is becoming a Main Street city, and hopefully this is kind of a catalyst to get that rolling.
Looks nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian.
Moving on to the claims, everyone was provided a copy of the claims from the previous month. Ask for a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by John Spencer, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck Deaton. Are there any further questions or discussion? Call for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Is there anyone signed up for public comment? There's no one for public comment. Moving on to the consultant report for the Wheatley Group.
Thank you. My report was presented in your packet, and I'll go over a few things and be glad to answer any questions that you have on the whole report. But Shadow Lake Development, in case you don't know, the CSX and the city have executed all the agreements. They've issued a notice to proceed. So we're moving forward with that intersection, rail intersection, and the intersection there at the highway. U.S. Capitol also closed on 2 properties within the Shadow Lake Business Park as well last week or the week before. And those 2 buildings have combined or right under 785,000 square feet, and construction cost is right at or a little under $63 million. And you should be receiving another quarterly update at the October meeting from the DC Develop on what else is going on out there and where they are. We set those up quarterly. It'll either be in person or in writing or written report. So, and there's a new sign out there at the roundabout. You all
Looks
see
good.
that?
Yes.
It's nice stone, Shadow Lake.
I was actually there last week to meet with the general contractor for the 2.
The 2 new buildings.
Yeah, 2 new buildings.
Great. Greenway Park bank stabilization, I didn't think about it when I drove in today to see, but I believe today they were supposed to move stones on site to start that bank stabilization project, and maybe start moving some things around tomorrow or the next day. So we had a pre-construction meeting in August, or on August 15th. So we hope that they're done by the end of October on that. And the last thing I wanted to report on is the information was released about the annual spending plan submissions. I sent it all to you so you would know how intricate it was. It's not. It mostly was how do you upload it, that was the instruction. And in some areas, it talked about what they might like to see in it, but really didn't either. So I think we should just be very basic in what we submit. And I don't know that we'll need any special meetings, I put that in the report, that we might need some to discuss expenditures, but if we keep it very high level as far as what our obligations are and what our capital projects budget is, then I think we'll be good. But there was no suggested format to submit that. Even though we waited a year to find out what we needed to do, there still is no format. It's just, this is how you can upload it now.
You
So
don't really want to do it, it's just.
I don't think
I feel
so.
like somebody's.
No one, for those of you that don't know this, no one in the DLGF was consulted when this was made law, when they passed this law for redevelopment commissions to provide their expenditure plan. So they did not consult the people that have to deal with it when that happens. So.
Surely not the Hoosier legislature, they wouldn't act like that. I can imagine.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason behind it, and we will certainly comply to the best of our ability. And so I will have a format ready for you by your next meeting to look at. And I believe, even though it doesn't say in this and other things that I've read, that it needs to be approved, but it doesn't say how it needs to be approved by the mayor and city council in this instance. So we'll make sure that it's ready to go before both the mayor and city council before December 1st. Do you have any questions about anything on my report at all?
No, it was thorough as usual, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, we have the Short Street demolition due diligence discussion.
So we, in your packet, you had a cost estimate or proposal from Enviroforensics to do hazardous materials testing. I went ahead and asked them if they would give us a price for both buildings that the city owns, even though we won't be able to do anything with the H&R Block building until early summer next year. I just wanted to get that out there so that we could go when it was time to do that, and also for the Short Street buildings here that you just purchased. So.
Was that 1150 per site, meaning each of those 4 addresses? Or was it 1150
It's
for?
$11.50 for the building, for
Okay.
doing those 20 tests or whatever it was.
So 1150 for all the Short Street building and 1150 for the 501?
That's
Okay.
correct.
I thought that was probably the case, but I wasn't quite sure from the way it was worded in there. Cool.
That is what it is, and if you're correct, it is confusing. So, that's what I have before you now. If you want to accept it, great, and if you have questions or want to go in a different direction, we can do that too.
That's a pretty reasonable quote, you think, I mean, based on what you've seen over the years?
It is, and when here, the only other time we've done that, at least that I've been in this position, Charlestown and helping you, was when we took down those buildings where Forest Edge is.
Yeah.
We had a lot more testing, so it was a little bit more expensive.
Well, if we need to act on it, I'll make a motion that we approve the quote from forensics. How do you pronounce that?
Enviroforensics.
Enviroforensics.
We have a motion from John Spencer to approve the quote from
Enviroforensics.
Enviroforensics. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Benita Pate. Is there any further discussion?
I think you guys have.
I just wanted to ask, how long is that report, once they complete, how long is it good for after?
On this, for the hazardous materials, it's good. I mean, it doesn't have an expiration date. That piece of it doesn't. The phase 1 environmentals do have a shelf life of 180 days.
Gotcha, yeah, that's what I was.
So it does have a shelf life of, that one does, of 180 days, but these tests should be good.
Okay.
So the motion that we're making, is that for both properties or just for the one for right now?
That's a good question. It's whatever John says, but if we can
I
lock
think
it in for
if the
2.
price is set at 1150, and we're gonna do one now and one later, I think we make a motion to do both and just lock that price in. So.
My motion was for both of them.
I agree.
Great. Okay.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I did ask Joe Stevens with Enviro Forensics, because I thought, well, we might be able to go ahead and do the H&R Block building, but in knowing what I know, they're gonna have to poke holes, and, you know, it shouldn't be a mess, but we don't wanna cause them any
Yeah,
problems.
they're leasing from us, so we don't, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Our new discussion, we have a Short Street visioning proposal.
And to piggyback a little bit on what Brian said earlier, since he has purchased that property on Short Street, we would like to do some visioning on that for two reasons. One is to look at what of that city might want as public space to tie into that parklet or pocket park, or have additional space for possibly, this is just me, a stage or a small amphitheater, something that you can further activate the square. As well as the second reason is to provide some vision for what developers what city might want to see for developers to propose in the RFP process. What type of building or what we're looking at there, just kind of give them an idea, so that they can be more informed when they provide us with some proposal. I reached out to Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group. They're the group that, and Chuck, well, most of you probably weren't on the redevelopment commission. We had them do the visioning for Highway 62 and 3 to look at that, to make that safer, more accessible, and make it more pretty as well. They also were the group that completed the city's last comprehensive plan. So they provided me with a proposal and a cost of $19,500 to do similar to what we did with Charlestown Landing, that project where they would come in and speak to a number of people and be given some direction on what to do, and come in with a layout or two and some high-level cost estimates, so that we would know, you know, what it might look like, what we might like it to look like, and then we could have that information moving forward. It's not any full design of anything, it's very high level.
I think I'm clear on this, but just, it would be what the city would keep and the park that the.
It's looking at that whole Short Street property. The properties, what would be really easy is if you could divide it up by parcels, but it's where the arms of the building are very small parcels. And the larger part is larger parcel, and I think we'll end up using a little bit of both, if that makes sense. But just to have that vision of, so you all can see too, what could we actually put there and what that might look like. Mayor, do you have anything else you'd like to add about that?
No, I think that
Okay.
sums it up.
So we're looking for a motion to approve the proposal estimate from
Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group.
Taylor Seeker,
Seeker.
Seeker Williams Design Group. For a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
I'm not gonna ask you to, I'm not gonna ask you to.
I was hanging on, no. Sure.
Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a vote to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion passes.
May I ask this board to go ahead and identify somebody, no more than two, so we don't have a quorum, two people who would be able to potentially participate in that design review initial meeting that they're gonna have. I'd like for redevelopment to have two representatives, if you guys.
I'd be willing to do it if it's not during the day, I mean, like during,
Yeah,
I
that-
feel much
I mean,
better.
if they do a Zoom and show things,
Yeah,
can you do
yeah.
a Zoom during the day?
yeah, I can do that. I can pull it up, sure.
So John and maybe anybody else.
If that's okay with you guys, I mean,
Not do it during the day.
So it's up to everybody else, but I can do it any time of day. I can make my schedule work.
Well, and Chuck would be good because he's also on council, and I wanted somebody from council as well, if that's okay with everybody.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll be in touch with you guys. We'll make sure we keep you two in the loop when we get ready to meet with them on those initial concepts. Thank you.
thank you.
Is there any further discussion tonight?
further discussion. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 1st, 2024. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.